I do.
Thank you.
I came here this evening to express my support in the opening of Iron Bistro. I think it's a great addition to downtown Morristown. I've actually grown up in Mendham and recently moved here to Morristown approximately 4 years ago. I've actually had the opportunity to know Daryl prior to opening of Iron Bar and have come to know his owner, the additional part owners. And I have to say they are very welcoming of open residents. They take in consideration suggestions and comments. The staff that they have hired and they interview are ideal to what we are looking for. They're very respectful, and that's definitely something that we look forward to in a restaurant. You want the best service. You want people who are catering to your needs. Being a resident that's just local, I constantly am walking on the streets, finding somewhere to go, and to have a restaurant that welcomes the atmosphere of an individual and independent to come and sit down is very ideal. I do have a mother who's a very attends Mayo Theater, and she constantly asks me, where's there a place to go afterwards that someone at her age group can attend? And unfortunately, I have nowhere to recommend in Morristown currently because I don't feel comfortable suggesting any of the current environments for her. Not only would Iron Bistro give her some place to go afterwards or before, but I can also join her. So it'd be a nice little bonding experience. Constantly going out to restaurants, I find myself being pushed out by 9:30, 10 o'clock because restaurants are closing. This would also give an opportunity for my girlfriends and I, or even on a date night, to stay longer, extend the conversation, and it's all about experience. So the gentlemen have really expressed great detail about what this Iron Bistro can offer, and I'm excited to see what else it can offer to the local residents. So thank you.
Mr. Williams, I presume you have no questions?
I have no questions.
You'll let me know if you
I'll
have
let you know.
questions.
I will jump up.
Mr. Williams. Mr. Secretary Mayor.
Timothy Jackson, please.
I'm Timothy Jackson. And I have a presence at 44 Hill Street. All right? Yes.
Mr. Jackson, do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do. I want this, not this, but I want something. I want something, but not this. I don't think it's right to do this. I don't. I think it's not the right thing. Maybe something else, but not this. All right? That's all I think it's not good. All right?
Thank you, Mr. Jackson.
Robert Kavanaugh, please.
Hey, Darren. Robert Cavanaugh, 8 Hilltop Circle, Morristown.
Can you spell your last name?
Cavanaughh.
Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
First, I'll start. I have no relation to Jimmy Cavanaugh, which I wish I did. But anyway,
you're kind of tall. I need you to lean in just a little. There you go.
Born and raised in this town, 48 years. I'd like to reiterate some of the people said. It would be nice to have a place where you go with a little older crowd. I know Morristowns tend to be a younger atmosphere, younger crowd. Also involved with the Knights of Columbus, which we own property on South Street right next to his restaurant. He's been a good neighbor to us, and I just want to say I'm supportive of him expanding this restaurant. Thank you.
Joseph Lee.
Is he available? If not, we'll go to the next name. If you find him real quick, we'll go. If not, we'll go to the next name.
He's going to go back of the list.
Yeah.
Put him to the bottom of the list.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Richard Tello.
Hi, Rick Tullo, Tullo, New Providence, New Jersey.
What's the address?
76 Marion Avenue.
And do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
One of the things that's missing in this whole statement is I live in New Providence. I also own property in New Providence. I'm one of the few lucky ones that haven't rented. If you drive through the center of New Providence, half the stores are boarded up. It looks terrible. That's not a very good thing for our community. I'm active in trying to get that changed. But here's a town, here in Morristown, Jimmy's running a successful business. 2 businesses next to him go out of business and they were boarded up. It looks like crap, to be blunt. Here's a gentleman who wants to go in and improve the space. If I'm not mistaken, I was looking at the food on this menu. I didn't see chicken fingers or, mozzarella sticks. Wild boar is not on your bar menu. Okay? That's not the last time I was at one. So I think we should give this guy a shot. Thanks.
Adam DiMarzo.
My name is Adam DiMarzo. Last name is D-E-M-A-R-Z-O. I live at 10 Lafayette Avenue here in Morristown.
Mr. Marzo, do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do. I'm here. I came to learn a little bit more about the concepts of the Iron Bistro, and I have to say I'm actually pretty excited about it. My wife and I live here. I've been here for a total of about 6 years. This is my 3rd residency here. So I keep coming back, and now I live here with my wife. We started a family here. We have a young daughter. My wife has actually worked in Morristown for, I think 8 years now. And one of the things that keeps us coming back is the variety of establishments in the center of town. We have a great town center. And to see a concept like Iron Bistro is exciting and very interesting for me. I also happen to be a musician, so to be able to go to a venue and watch original musicians play here in the cover band state of New Jersey is pretty exciting too, because you don't have a lot of venues for people like that to express themselves. So, I'm 38 years old. My wife and I are both professionals, and we need a place to go too. I'm not 21 anymore, so a lot of the bars that I enjoyed going to a few years back aren't exactly enticing to me. So I support the Iron Bistro, and I hope you approve the application. Thanks.
The next one, writing is a little hard to decipher. I think it's Ann O'Carroll.
Hi, my name is Anya O'Carroll. It's okay if you got it wrong. It's Irish Gaelic, unless you're from Ireland. It's A-I-N-E.
Mm-hmm.
I am at 305 Pitney Place in Morristown.
And spell your last name, please.
O'Carroll, O''C-A-R-R-O-L-L.
Ms. O'Carroll, do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir. So I came here, it's funny, I hear the word millennial constantly. I am 28 years old. I am the face of the millennial for everybody. I've had a job since I was 12 years old. I have voted in every election that I could have possibly voted in. I enjoy going out on the weekends. I am not married. I do not have children. I actually live with a girl who is 29 years old, also not married, also does not have children, also votes, also has worked her whole life. I think what I'm here to say is a couple things. I just moved into Morristown in October. I am born and raised in Western Maryland. If you ever go out to Western Maryland, all you will find is an Applebee's and a Buffalo Wild Wings. So when my parents came, and my brother, who is married with 2 children, to Morristown, when they visit, they stay at the West Inn, they are blown away by everything that we have here. We started at David Todd's, and then I took them to the sidebar at Famished Frog. And they couldn't believe there was a nice little band there. They couldn't believe all the shops we got to go to the next day. They couldn't believe the historical buildings and the churches and everything that I had right in my backyard. Not to mention that I can walk my dog at night and I know that I'm safe. So I'm here to say that I believe in small businesses, and this is a small business. This is jobs that you are going to bring to the town. People can drink anywhere, any way that they want. They can cause problems anywhere, any way that they want. And with this establishment, I don't believe that you're bringing that type of crowd. I think you're bringing a place that's even better. If I tell my parents that we have a jazz bar now, they might move here. And when I tell my own brother who said to me, he said, Anya, I'll never move to New Jersey. It's the armpit of America and all this other stuff. And he saw what we had here. He changed his mind. He's a veterinarian that's currently looking for work. And he's actually considering coming out here now because he saw all the tremendous business opportunities, all the great atmosphere, all the great places to go to eat. I just want to say that, regardless of the place that you go to eat and drink, everybody here, they just want to make this place a better town. And just like that gentleman said, I couldn't have said it better myself. I had lived at the shore in 2008 when everything was really tanking. And I was in college. I don't want to age myself too much, but and I remember seeing business after business after business close. And I saw our main street in Long Branch, there were 2 places open. And that was really heartbreaking. And you have such a great opportunity here. And now to even make it better with a place like this that has some culture, where I can actually, I listen to Steely Dan. I'm 28 years old. I still listen to Steely Dan. And the last thing I want to say is, if anybody has ever been to a bank or the post office at 4:49 and they close at 5, and you can't get that one thing that you want. If you work, I work all over the place. I work in Smart World Coffee sometimes. I'll work at the Famished Frog when it's, there's not a lot of people around. I can open up my laptop. But if you're working these late hours, you can't go to the bank. You can't get your nails done. And it's a really frustrating thing that you walk into a business and they're closed and they put their hand up to you before you even get the chance to walk in the door and spend your money there. And I think of those places sometimes, don't you want my money? I work just as hard as you. And what you're asking, if you ask this place or any business to close earlier than what they possibly could, what you're asking them to do is to start out from the beginning saying to consumers, no, we don't want your business. Thank you.
Julie Albertini, please.
Ms. Albertini, would you state your first name, last name, spell your last name, give your address?
Sure. My name is Julie Albertini, Albertini. I live at 60F Ridgedale Ave here in Morristown, New Jersey. Let me just start out by saying I am in full support.
Oh, un momento. Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm going to refer to my notes just so I don't forget anything. Let me just start out by saying I am in full support of them opening up the Iron Bistro. What drew me to Morristown in the first place, I grew up in Mendham. I've lived in Morristown, and I own in Morristown. I've been here for about 7 years. What drew me to Morristown in my 20s was the Iron Bars of the world, the Sonas of the world, the Famished Frogs of the world. I was single, just starting out in my career, and I came to this town to find people and to meet people. I actually met my husband at a bar here in Morristown after 11 p.m. Now that we are more established in our lives, what keeps me in Morristown is these new restaurants that are opening up, the Roots of the world, the End of Elms of the world, the Blue Morels. We are the consumers that like a nice glass of wine, that like your crafted cocktails. We like your Manhattans. We like the bourbons. We want crafted spirits and beers. And that's what keeps us in Morristown. We own in Morristown, and we're actually looking to now move up from our condo and to buy a home in Morristown, and we want to stay here. I think that almost everybody in this room can agree that Iron Bistro is definitely a great concept, and there's a need for it in town. Something that I'd like to bring up that I don't think has been brought up yet was the restrictions that were put on Grand Cantina when they came in last year. There were two restrictions. The first one was that they had to close or stop serving liquor, if I'm correct, out at 11 p.m. And the second was that they wanted to lower the bar seats from 18 to 12. Both my husband and I are in sales. He's a sales engineer. I'm a sales director for my company. Sometimes I don't get home from work until 8, 9 o'clock at night. We eat out 4 to 5 nights a week. Sometimes it's 7 nights a week, depending on how busy we are. We always eat at the bar. I can't remember the last time I ate at a table. I do think you get better service at the bar, and I think that you get somebody who's a little bit more educated on the products behind the bar, and I'm always willing to learn, and I always want to start a conversation with them. One thing I don't like is to be kicked out of a bar at 11 o'clock. I'm probably there until 12, 12:30, and I think that some of you guys, I've been to Iron Bar. That's kind of where we want to be. I would love to have an upscale place that I can sit, have a drink, and be able to go home at 12 o'clock at night. I don't want to go out of this town to find somebody that will service me after 11. The last thing to talk about, and I think that you guys touched on it before, they're not breaking any laws by opening this up. They're not breaking any laws by staying open until 2 o'clock. This is a commercial zone. We all choose where we want to live. I don't think that we should dictate when somebody should close their bar or not close their bar. I have people that live right above me that I think move their couches and do aerobics at 12 o'clock every single night. I chose to live there. There's nothing I can do to change that. Would I like to change that? Absolutely. I live right on the corner of Abbott Ave. There have been 3 shootings on my street. I would like to focus more on cleaning up those areas of town rather than, I feel much safer in the center of town after 11 o'clock at night than I would walking where I live. So that's all I have to say. I am fully in support of the Iron Bar. Thank you. Or Iron Bistro. Thank you.
Brian Kane.
Brian Kane, Brian Kane is a friend of mine. He's a nurse at the hospital in town. I'm sorry he had to leave.
I'd be happy to speak in his place or go to the bottom.
We're going to go up. We're going to keep on our list.
Tricia Rosenkind.
Hi, Tricia Rosenkind. My last name is Rosenkilde, 33 McCulloch Avenue, Morristown.
Ms. Rosenkind, do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes. I have mostly questions, actually, things I'm not quite sure about. First of all, I just want to say that I absolutely love Morristown. I love living here. I love our town. And I wouldn't want to live anywhere else at this point in my life. I just really think it's great. And I also have some questions, though, that concern me and others as well. I guess one big question is, why does a restaurant need to stay open until 2 a.m.? And is that a restaurant or not? And why does it have to serve liquor till 2 a.m.? I think that the downtown has been at a tipping point for a while as far as the after hours, the after hours issues, and any addition to the amount of alcohol being served in that time frame is a bad thing. It's a negative thing for the town. We have to think about also what people are going to think about our town. This seems like a broken record in a way. I've said all this before about other issues. We kind of feel like I'm going in circles, but here we are again. Why not close it at midnight, 11 o'clock midnight? I mean, that's what the other restaurants do. That's what Shanghai Jazz does. That's one of the top 100 jazz clubs in the entire world. They close at 10:30 or 11 on Friday, Saturday. That's the latest time that they close. And they're a very successful jazz club, well known, with a good name. What will prevent this, if it becomes the Iron Bistro, what will prevent it from becoming or morphing at a later date into more of a bar scenario if the permission is granted at this point to serve liquor till 2 a.m.? I don't think there is anything that can stop it. I'm also just kind of curious why there's no word named jazz or blues in the name. Why, Iron Bistro, to me, it seems a little bit generic. And if it's really a jazz or blues club, that should be advertised. That should be out there. That should be up there on the front of the building. Let it be known this is a jazz club. Get the name out there. So to me, that seems a little bit curious. And who will monitor the number of people when we say we have a limit? Who's going to do that? Who's going to take numbers? Who's going to watch that? I don't know how that would be done. I mean, maybe there is a way, but I just don't know what it is. So also I'm curious about what will happen. Is there any use for the basement? What happens in the basement of this building? Is that part of the club or is that something separate? I don't know. I wonder what that might be as far as the plans go. So I get a little nervous when I speak, so I'm sorry my voice is shaking. So I wonder, is this really supposed to be a quiet musical venue that serves amazing food? If that's the case, I'm going. I would love it. But is this going to be another problem starting at around 11, 12 o'clock at night for all of us? And even though I thank you from the bottom of my heart for changing the parking regulations, it's changed our lives in many, many ways for the better in our residential neighborhood nearby, but I still had people having sex at 2 o'clock in the morning on McCulloch Avenue across from my house under the streetlights, and they were completely drunk. That's still happening. I do think, though, it's 90% better, but there's still stuff going on. Thank you.
Marie Rosen.
Actually, I think, Mr. Williams, I don't know if you had questions for Ms. Rosenhill, but we're actually going to take a break as we had committed to. Is that
before or after?
He said he'd let us know if you have questions.
You have no questions. I had said we would take a break at 9:15. I know you're here with other people, so do you want to go ahead and then we'll take a break right after? We'll take your time. You have 5 minutes.
Marie Roseanne, I do live at 40 Park. I think you see so many of us from 40 Park because we are right next door to your restaurant.
Hold on one second. I'd like you to spell your last name.
Rozan.
And you're at 40 Park.
40 Park.
Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
But that's why you see so many of us. We don't live 3 blocks away or across town or in a different town. And mainly we are dealing with late night problems, actually a little better than at one time when we first moved in. And I do appreciate your signs and, your help in that respect. But I do have a question as to the general question of expansion of liquor licenses. Expansion of place, and what does that mean? Do we have a definition? How much can they expand? Upstairs, downstairs, something out back, across the street, next door, on the other side? Is there a limit to where a liquor license can expand? I have not heard any limits, and I certainly would like to hear some. The other thing is the expansion of capacity. It's very nice to hear that it will only be another 200 and some odd people. However, I hear that if you change the doors or you do something else, then it's a whole new ball game and you can expand even more. So are the limits really limits as far as capacity goes? So that's my other question. Excuse my voice. And the last thing I have to say is about the hours. The hours do affect the safety of our residents in Morristown, and especially with drunken DWIs. People are driving with no headlights, speeding, driving into oncoming traffic, failure to stop at stop signs, and the highest incidence is from 1 till about 2:30 in the morning. This is where we have all the problems. In addition, there was one headline in the paper, and I liked this one. It was "Pee and Flee" after urinating on the lawn of the Presbyterian Church on our historic green. Also, we've had urination late night hours in front of our building, on 28 West Park Place also, and various other buildings. So the problem is really late night, safety, scuffles, DWIs. And I might suggest that we make 1 o'clock the limit for our bars rather than 2. This would cut out a lot of problems for the police, DWIs, the hooting and hollering for neighbors, because the longer these bars go on, or restaurants, the louder and more serious everything gets. So I do have a few papers here that does tell you about the DWIs in Morristown, and I'm going to leave that with the council. And I thank you very much for your attention. And as I say, Mr. Kavanaugh, I think, runs a good bar, but how big and how far and how much and how many people is the question. Thank you.
Madam Chairman, do you like me to answer those questions?
I think that they're good questions to answer about the terms transfer and expansion in particular.
Okay. Under the Title 33 of the New Jersey statute.
Evidence,
I don't know what they are.
I don't know. I haven't seen them.
Yes.
Yeah, I haven't seen them, so I don't know if I can object or not, but let me answer the question. New Jersey Title 33 requires that when you get a liquor license, you license what they call the premises. So if you have a building or a floor plan and it's 400 square feet, 4,000 square feet, if you have the opportunity to expand into the premises next to you, you have to do what they call place-to-place expansion of premises. That's what we're doing now. How far can you go? Well, in this building, we can't go any further. But generally, you can go adjacent to the premises or on the same lot that you have. There are facilities in South Jersey where they have 2 acres of land. They have 2 buildings. They expand into both buildings. But with respect to this location, to answer the question proposed, this would essentially limit the ability to expand in this particular building because it's self-limiting. On the front, you have South Street. In the back, there's really very little area to go. And that would be controlled based on the structure of the building itself. Why 2 o'clock? I think that we've expressed to you the need for 2 o'clock. Mr. Kavanaugh and his group expend over $1.5 million to build this out. We have to be able to have the same opportunities that our neighbor right next door has. The office was in here a short time ago. You let them expand their premises, and they're open till 2 o'clock by law. Your law in Morristown says you can stay open to 2 a.m. There's nobody on this little strip here going from D Hart down to Roots that has any restrictions on their hours. They can stay open to 2 o'clock. So why are they asking for 2 o'clock? We're asking that the law provides for 2 o'clock. Everybody else has 2 o'clock. We have marketed and designed this facility to allow people to come in from the Mayo Theater late night to have the ability to have dinner. I thought one of the young ladies that got up made an excellent point. Everybody doesn't have boutique hours. Everybody doesn't work 9 to 5 where they can go out and eat at 6 o'clock. You have a large hospital that people get out of work at 11:30. They have no place to go for dinner, no place of the caliber of this restaurant. Therefore, we think this is an important component. I believe that was 2 of the questions. There was a third one.
Could you address the ability to add increased capacity?
I have told you that our capacity as designed now is capped at 1,043 at the Iron Bar. I'm stipulating, and I thought I made that clear in the beginning, we're not going to add one more person to that. We'll have 1043 at the Iron Bar whether or not this building goes in or this project is approved. We have that by right. But what we're willing to do is to say we're not looking to pile on, so to speak. We'll take our capacity, which will be approved at the Iron Bar 1043, and merge that into this new area. This is only 4,700 square feet. This is not a large addition to the facility itself.
Okay, thank you. What I have here, I'm going to mark as objectors 1. It is it looks like it's from the Morristown patch, and it is the looks like arrests in Morristown police blotter dated November 15, 2001. There's another one dated March 19th, 2014. Another dated December 18th, 2013. And another dated January 11th, 2012. And it shows a number of DWIs. It shows a number of police actions. I don't know that any of them, from my brief perusal, and I'm sure Mr. Williams will look at it during the break, I don't know if any of them have anything to do with the applicant, but we'll let Mr. Williams look at it, and we'll let the board review it.
At this point, we're going to take about a 5-minute break and then come back and continue this until 10:30, it looks like.
You're like all the way over there by yourself. It's like, hello.
Hello. Yeah. Well, that's up to Leonardo when we distributed the list. Were they here at the beginning of the meeting? Oh.
Yes, sir.
I was there. They would four songs starting at 7 o'clock. Three at 5 minutes apiece. That should not be 25 minutes.
I'm having visual migraine. For real. Yeah, that's what happens when I'm really... I can't believe I don't see it.
And we have Vincent Zuzza.
Before Mr. Zuzza testifies, counsel, I've reviewed the information that you provided me during the break. I would object to this going as part of the record for the board. It has nothing to do with the application tonight. I would request that it just be returned to the witness.
Okay. Well, I'll look at it a little more closely.
All right, you can look at it.
I haven't read the whole thing, so the things that were underlined, I agree. It didn't reference the Iron Bar nor the Iron Bistro.
No,
I'm sorry. I looked at the parts that were underlined. There were a number of pages. The parts that I did look that were underlined did not reference the Iron Bar or the Iron Bistro. But if you're going to ask that it be taken out of the record entirely, I'm going to have to read the entire thing to make that to make that determination.
Fine. I'll return it to the clerk.
Thank you.
Oh, hello. Vincent Zuzza, Z-U-Z-A. I'm a resident of 40 Park.
And Mr. Zuzza, do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do. All right, thank you for the opportunity. What I want to say is I personally oppose this as being requested. I want to be specific about that. My issue is not whether the Iron Bar has a license that allows them to be there till 2. They do. I think the issue before the council here is expansion of that license to another location, and does that necessarily need to be the 2? Now, you folks have had precedent now set twice, where you've said 11 o'clock for other folks who are trying to do the same thing in terms of expanding to another location, and I would find it shameful that we now go back on that precedent in this case. And in fact, with the cantina that was about half, I'm rounding, half the size, precedent was set at 11. Now we'll double the size. Why would that precedent need to be changed? 11 seems reasonable. As far as just having a restaurant, upscale restaurant that may serve liquor, I'm not opposed to that. That'd be probably fine. But I think 11 o'clock is a reasonable time frame for a restaurant, jazz club, bistro, what have you call it, to be open. I don't think it needs to be 2 o'clock. I mean, as a resident, I can tell you, and I've called the mayor, and I've called the town, and I've called the police, it's a zoo on South Street after midnight. And as a resident, as I walk from my apartment and I go towards the Mayo to go see a show, that alleyway is a pigsty. Now, I have to give credit here. The plan showed that they were going to have 3 containers enclosed. Give credit where credit is due. But I would ask the council, as you weigh any decision that you make, that perhaps the better thing to do would be, if there's an expansion, there should be 0 tolerance for external carts. Because that alleyway is just getting to be, it's pitiful. It's shameful, frankly. So I think, those are my 2 concerns. One is the noise. After 11, it only gets worse. This will not help that situation. In and of itself, it doesn't cause it. It doesn't help it, though. Why would the council want to do something which is not beneficial to reducing what is a known problem? The trash is an issue, and I think that needs to be addressed. And I think the whole precedent of transfer to transfer, why is 11 o'clock no longer a rational argument that was agreed to by the board? So I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
I have a couple of questions. Sarah, did you reside at 40 Park on July 17, 2013?
2013, I believe so. I've been there about 2.5 years, so yes.
Okay. And will you notice that the office, the restaurant adjacent to the Iron Bar, filed for an expansion of their premises in the July or June of 2013?
I probably noticed, and I probably didn't come to that because I was probably working and not available. I'm available tonight.
Okay, so you were noticed. Is that correct?
I assume. I don't remember.
You don't remember whether or not you were noticed?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Let's ask the question. Let's answer the question. Let's not talk over each other.
Are you aware that they are open at 2 o'clock?
Yes, they were open and they still are open until 2 o'clock, yes.
Now, I'm not clear. Were you aware that they filed for an expansion of their premises and it was approved by the council with no conditions?
I was aware they expanded. I was not aware of the council's approval in any way, shape, or form.
Did you hear our representation to the board that even if this application is not approved, the same amount of people will come to the site?
I heard that, yep.
Okay. And you're still concerned that if we increase the area where the same amount of people can go, it's going to cause additional problems for you?
I am concerned. It's a precedent that's set that says premise-to-premise expansion does not need to be 11 o'clock as the board approved on 2 occasions previously.
So
why would I want to set a different precedent?
Well, you're aware that the office expanded their premises and they got 2 o'clock. You've cited 2 other locations that got 11.
Right.
But the most recent approval by this governing body was July 17, 2013, and they approved 2 o'clock.
Right, and I do not know the elements of how that construction was changed. Did it go to a different address? Did it not go to a different address? Was it up? Was it back? I'm not an expert, nor do I know that.
Have you had the opportunity to see the back of the office building? Have you been able to see an expansion from your
I've seen the 2 dumpster enclosed within the roll-down doors. I've seen that, and then I've seen the one that seems to be being built where the Iron Bistro is, and I think, you may correct me if I'm wrong, and if you do, that's fine. It's a roll-down door as well, but it looks less in size than the office.
Thank you.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jack Gaffney.
Jack Gaffney, 40 West Park, G-A-F-F-N-E-Y.
Mr. Gaffney, do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
I think part of tonight has been listening to a vision of a jazz club. I don't think we could fade it. It would be maybe the greatest jazz club going. What I'm not sure is how credible it is. And I think part of what's being ignored is what this density and clustering of alcohol establishments is in this town. Citing this jazz club is in an area that's already excessive. We have 2,600 patrons in about 11 bars in the green area. The Iron Bistro will now contribute to that. The character of that establishment, I've heard a lot of good things. It's a vision. I'm not sure how we satisfy that. Part of looking at this is sort of the macro basis of what this area is all about. And that was dealt with both in Grand Katina and Tajmu and how you got to the 11 p.m. The factors of what we have in this area, in the literature, you have more alcohol-induced violence, intoxication, excessive noise, littering. I live on the front of 40 Park. I had to put in soundproof windows to deal with the noise, and some of the worst noise is between 1 a.m. and 2 a.m. The Iron Bar, we can't lose track of the history here. We keep talking about the Iron Bistro. The character that begins is from the Iron Bar. Many of the incidents are reported in the Patch and in the newspapers. The Iron Bar has been listed substantially, not only in 2013, but 2014. Looking at the overall area, there's been numerous research and studies done of what contributes to alcohol incidents, outlets, density, and looking at that environment contributes to the town of Morristown. The appeal of Morristown is people looking at it and understanding that we're protecting the character. We're talking about right on the edge of the green. With all due respect to the description of the Iron Bistro as a jazz club, there's a band could be on the lower floor. I don't know when and how that will compete. It seems a little inconsistent. In the floor plans that I first received, there was no apparent stage. Tonight, one was pointed out. It didn't appear to be in the original drawings. The capacity of 200 for the jazz club seems excessive to me. Shanghai Jazz in Madison seats 100 people. On weekdays, they close at 10 p.m., and on the weekends, 11 p.m. That's a major factor in terms of what has to happen with a jazz club. I think the precedent of Grand Katina and Tajmu, you wrestled with the same issues of the density, the cluster, the incidents. That doesn't go away by characterizing this as a jazz club. In the past, you wrestled with that. I think that precedent has to stand, and I think that's my points for tonight. Thank you.
Mr. Williams.
A couple questions. Sir,
Sure.
You reside at apartment 410?
Yes.
And you wrote a letter to the board in opposition to the
I did.
application?
Yes.
And you cited some information in there regarding a building permit that was cited, a building violation that was cited against Mr. Kavanaugh?
Yes.
Have you had an opportunity to review the letter that was provided by the town saying that your information was incorrect?
No.
Okay, let me provide that for you. Where did you get your information that Mr. Kavanaugh was issued a building violation for demolishing cups?
I think my wife observed it on the building.
You think your wife observed it?
Yes.
You didn't observe it?
No.
But
We wrote the letter jointly. She couldn't be here tonight.
Now, you're under oath here tonight?
Yes.
Okay. Just bear with me for a second. The board already has a copy of the letter that Mr. Kavanaugh was not involved with the issuance of the building violation, that your information is incorrect. I will provide you with a copy of the information that was provided to the board, the letter from the building
And
department.
the permit had to do with the demolition process, right?
Can hear you.
And the permit had to do with the demolition process,
I don't know what he's talking about.
which the town subsequently approved.
We've received Mr. Gaffney's letter, but I don't recall seeing the letter.
It's in our packet.
Thank you.
You have a letter from the building department
From Fritz.
clarifying that it's from Fritz Reese, construction official.
But the point he's making is that.
The point he's making is that we were at fault for something. We provided that information to you as the governing body. We received information that you received from the construction official saying simply that's not true. Here's a copy of the letter, sir. Would you like to read it?
I don't think I need to read it. If that was the facts, our understanding was one thing. The issue was when the demolition was done. I'll agree with you if that's the case.
I'll tell you about the mistake.
Sure,
Okay, now,
If that's
You
the
just
fact,
You just testified under oath. What time the Shanghai breaks close?
10 p.m. was my understanding.
Okay. You'll take a look at their website and tell the board what time they serve dinner to. It's 11:30, isn't it?
I said on the weekends 11, okay, 11:30. It says 10 p.m. on weekdays. My wife also spoke to that.
That's what time they serve dinner. That doesn't mean they close. You can actually walk in and get dinner there based on their website till 11:30 at night on Friday and Saturday night.
Okay.
All right, so if you order dinner at 11:30 at night, obviously the place can't close.
Right.
So your testimony to the board that they close at 11 o'clock is inaccurate.
That was our understanding from talking
What your
to them.
understanding is and what is accurate are two different things.
I'll debate the 11. I'll give the half hour. Okay.
Okay.
It's not 2 a.m.
Did you come to the hearing that was held for the office when they filed for their expansion?
I did not.
Were you noticed about the expansion?
No.
You received no notice?
No.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Matthew?
Eldon Priestley.
My name is Eldon Priestley, Priestley. I live at 40 Park.
Mr. Priestley, do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do. What the board is being asked to do is little by little go in the wrong direction, in my opinion. You set good precedent when you allowed some of these things to be approved, but set the 11 p.m. restriction on when alcohol could no longer be served. So what I want to do tonight is speak not so much to the specifics of what's being requested here, but rather to what I'll call creep in terms of alcoholic beverage control does. Let me say at the outset that what was described here tonight, minus the 2 a.m. closing, I think I would actually favor. A restaurant, a jazz location, legitimate, something like Shanghai Jazz in Madison. To make the point that I want to make, I'm simply going to read a letter that my wife and I sent to the council, actually sent to Mr. Steckauner, that addresses this question of latent alcohol availability. And in the letter, we referenced an earlier letter where we stressed the negative impacts on individuals and said in this letter we wish to point out what we believe is a serious potential unintended consequence to our community of loose alcoholic beverage control. We also said we do not purport to be expert on how certain areas of towns and cities become the quarter of alcohol, drugs, gangs, and prostitutes. But these elements do seem to thrive together when they're given the opportunity to do so. Unlike a lot of people in this room, we have not lived in Morristown or New Jersey all our lives. So we've lived in many different places. We've witnessed the existence of such quarters all too frequently in our hometown of Calgary, Alberta, in San Francisco, in Boston, in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and in New York City, just to name a few. While perhaps no one knows for sure how these complex communities develop, it seems hard to argue that alcohol doesn't play a central role. There is research showing that violent crime increases significantly and in direct proportion with the lateness of bar closing hours. And we certainly have our share of violent crimes directly attributable to local bar scene activity with the current 2 a.m. closing of most of our bars. It doesn't seem too much of a stretch to envision some of the participants, I say some, not all, some of the participants in our vibrant nightlife as ready clientele for enterprising drug dealers. Indeed, we've witnessed drug busts in our town in August of 2013 and again in March of 2014. So the drug dealers are already here. Might we not reasonably expect other unwanted elements to be attracted by the same potential market for their wares? Some cities seem to be concerned about the impacts of late-night availability of alcohol, as indicated by this recent headline. Quote, cities weigh earlier bar hours to reduce crime, unquote. Boston and Tampa are two that are weighing the pros and cons of shutting bars down early as early as midnight. Boston knows all too well how bad things can get, from the highly publicized 1976 murder of Harvard football player Andrew Cuopolo in its combat zone. That regrettable incident marked the beginning of the end of the combat zones. And then we reference an article which the council, the ABC board, may find interesting, which is a hindsight look at the rise and fall of the combat zone. Also, in an article analyzing that period of Boston's history, the Boston Globe summed it up this way: degradation in the service of profit is ugly. The interesting fact is that little of the profit from these operations benefits the larger communities in which they exist. Most of the profit goes straight into the pockets of the bar owners, the drug dealers, and the pimps. The combat zone was replaced by thriving business community during the real estate boom of the 80s, and today is far more economically beneficial to Boston than it ever was as the combat zone. Our town council, acting as the ABC board, has an obligation to learn from the mistakes that others have made and to ensure that it does not lead Morristown down the same path. We have no doubt that Morristown could and would recover if it did, because our town is resilient, but we expect more from our leadership. Let's hope that people looking back in 20 years will be able to say that this town council had the wisdom and foresight to control the bar scene while it still could, and in so doing prevented our town from woes and suffering that other less fortunate towns experienced. Sincerely, Eldon and Fern Priestley. Thank you.
Mr. Priestley, before you step down, I have a copy of a letter that another letter.
Yes.
Is that a second letter?
Yes.
Okay. Do we have copies of that letter, or is that something you just prepared for tonight?
It was
that was
distributed at table tonight.
Okay.
I don't have that letter.
Yeah,
it was distributed at table tonight.
My packet either.
In the package of emails received by the town clerk on this date. It was
You sent it to
handed
my
to you.
office?
No, I handed it to you at table tonight.
Oh, I haven't
Along
seen it.
I'm reading mine right
two
now.
exhibits
All right, well,
that you
But I don't see
that
something.
settles one question because I couldn't find it.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
I have another copy if you would like.
Yeah, I'd like to see it.
Okay. That's a June 4th letter. Okay.
Does Mr. Williams, does Mr. Williams have any questions? No questions?
I think Mr. Williams is going to have questions. I'm going to read the letter again. I read this one. I didn't read this one.
Last item. There was an attachment to an email, the one immediately preceding the letter.
Mr. Priestley, did you make the same comments you made regarding the availability of alcohol in Morristown when the office came in and got their expansion in July of 2013?
No.
Were you noticed that they were expanding their premises?
Yes, but let me point out to you that I prefaced my comments by saying that I was not so much addressing your specific request as I am control of alcohol within Morristown and urging our ABC to act responsibly in light of what has happened in many other places, because I think it's pretty much inevitable that we're going to follow in that same path. I've never seen a city in all my travels that's avoided it.
So your comments really weren't directed to the application before the board tonight?
Only to the extent that I would very much hope that this board would not relax the 11 p.m. restriction that they put on the Grand Cantina. That's the only intersection with your application and what I commented on.
And yet you had no problem with the office staying open to 2 o'clock.
The office had license to stay open till 2 o'clock. The Iron Bar has license to stay open till 2 o'clock. The Grand Cantina was not given that privilege because it was to be a restaurant. You made a statement that everybody up and down South Street stays open till 2 a.m. That is not true of restaurants. That's true of bars.
Sir, you're incorrect. I never made that statement. I specifically said that everybody has the availability to stay open to 2 o'clock. I didn't say they stay open to 2. But the closing hour for every single establishment on South Street from DeHart up is 2 o'clock. Nobody has a special condition. There's a difference between having the right under the ordinance to stay open to 2 and making it available to your customers. You don't have to stay open to 2, but you have the right.
Well, then, if I were on this board, I would be advocating that we make it a level playing field and cut the hours of closing back for everybody.
Thank you.
I have no problem with level playing fields as long as you do the right thing. I do not want Morristown to become what I've witnessed in so many cities that I've lived in. Maybe some people in this room would do well to get out and about rather than live just in Morristown where you've never seen anything else.
Did you see the Star Ledger article about how great Morristown is doing because of the restaurant activity that it has? Did you
I don't
see that
doubt
article?
anything about that, but you happen to put the money in your pocket from the bar operation between 11 and 2. There's nobody spending money at any other location except the bars, as far as I know, at 11 p.m.
I think you should get out more often. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think everyone's getting a little tired, but we will continue for a few more minutes. Matthew, who's next?
You have 7 more individuals on the list.
Let's do another one.
Let's take this.
Collins.
So what, 10:15?
Okay.
What time we close at 10:30?
10:30.
Yeah, so we can probably get 2 more. A couple more. Yep.
No, we're good.
Come on. Let's
You might wanna-
keep going. We're grinding.
Good evening. Christine Conti Collins, CONTI-COLLINS, 40 West Park Place.
And Ms. Collins, do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Thank you. There's a lot of talk about their vision, their plan, their business, their menu, their prospective customers, but not addressing the specific concerns that have come to this council over and over again. Let me be clear. We are not collateral damage. Our building alone pays $1.2 million in taxes. That's real money that goes to this town. I submit that the taxes paid by the Iron Bar are considerably less than 20 times lower. Okay? So let's prioritize here. And remember, we are not collateral damage. Let's talk facts. Oh, and I'm assuming that anybody on this council who may have received in-kind support from the applicant will recuse themselves if necessary. Of the 18,500 people who live in Morristown, half of them are not going to respond to an application. They're under the age of 18. So let's start talking real numbers here. To compare the people from 40 Park as nothing but curmudgeons or people that have issues or people who don't want growth, none of us are tree huggers. We knew what we were getting into when we bought our condos. But here's the rub. We expect the council to care about the businesses as well as the residents. It's a joint use community in that area. So let's talk facts. Number one, this chef mentioned New York 11 times. I counted it. This is not New York. It's not Hoboken. It's not Jersey City. And believe me, it's not Brooklyn, where I grew up. It is Morristown, New Jersey. Fact, the noise is a serious problem. You can put all the buffering you want into any establishment. When those doors open, the noise comes out. So unless you're going to barricade and put a foyer between the entrance of the doorway into the facility, the noise leaks out. Believe me, any one of you can come to my home at midnight, and believe me, you'll hear it. Fact. The dumpster situation and the trash situation, okay, so there's 4 dumpsters there now. 3 of them are going inside. I believe the architect said 1 was going outside and would be screened. Is the one that's going to be outside the one with the decomposing garbage, and the others are the ones with the recyclables? Question number 1. Number 2, the amount of garbage that came out of cups and zebus doesn't equal boar bones, salmon bones, all of this trendy stuff that would come out of this new restaurant. So is that adequate? Is it sufficient? Fact. You can get a good glass of wine. Go to Roots. They have a wine cellar of 1,000 bottles. You want wild boar? Go to Origins. They have an excellent wild boar on their menu. I need to read something to you just to remind you that this is what you did, and you did it right because you cared. On August 14th, 2012, you issued a resolution on 10 to Hart Street denying the application. I'm going to read from that resolution. Whereas the council finds, based on the various testimony heard, that it is in the best interest of the town of Morristown to deny the request for a place-to-place transfer of the instant license for the following reasons. The addition of another liquor establishment in this area would exacerbate the quality of life issues that exist in the neighborhood, including, but not limited to, parking congestion, noise, garbage, sanitation issues, and issues with public urination and other bodily fluids. Trust me, ladies and gentlemen, it still happens. And you know how we know it happens? We at 40 Park are responsible for making sure the piazza and the alley are hosed and washed. We pay for that in our fees. And I can assure you, vomit and urination continue. And I'll just head off this lawyer's question about the office. I was noticed. I supported it for the improvement to the facility. I had no problem. We have a new HVAC. There's no noise coming from the roof. Our residents who live on that side of the building are no longer bothered by an antiquated system that was 30 years old. And yes, they added a little bit of capacity. The Iron Bar is already huge. There's no need to let alcohol continue to flow till 2 o'clock in the morning. Stick to your guns. 11 o'clock. If this is such a wonderful, trendy place, it'll do really well up until 11 o'clock. Please do the right thing. The loading problems on DeHart Street will not abate. They continue. And if all these fancy food trucks are going to be bringing new kinds of food to deliver to the restaurant, the loading problem on DeHart Street is going to continue. It is a serious public safety issue. Market Street is a serious public safety issue. Those are the things that get exacerbated when the flow of alcohol can increase in a particular location. And I do agree with this lawyer. Between DeHart Street and Market on South Street, you've got wall-to-wall bars. It just, except for the bank.
Ms. Collins, you've exceeded your time limit.
Okay.
I'm asking you
so
to
I'm going to
wind
ask you to do the right thing. Deny the application as it stands, put conditions on it, and cap it at 11 o'clock. Thank you.
Just have a couple of quick questions.
I'm sure you have
Ms. Collins.
questions.
Conti Collins.
Conti Collins, sorry.
That's my name.
Okay, you made some remarks that there were very unpleasant references to you and people that live at 40 Park.
Mm-hmm.
You're not advising this board that this came from my client, are you?
I didn't say that.
Well, you mentioned that in conjunction to your opposition that these names were attributed to you, but you're saying, I just want to make it clear, you're not saying that the Iron Bar, the Iron Bistro ever referred to you in that manner. Is that correct?
I already answered that.
That's
I said
correct. Is that
I
correct?
did
Yes or
not
no?
say that.
So then it is correct. You're not saying that. Fine. Now, you indicated that you did receive notice about the expansion to the office.
Right, I did.
Okay, and you didn't object.
No, as a matter of fact, I supported the application.
Okay, and since they got their expansion, everything's been very quiet.
They're not open yet.
That's a good reason, isn't it? Thank you.
That's it?
I have no further
Thank you.
Let's go. We've got a couple more.
Ravit Ginsburg.
Hi, Ravit Ginsburg, Ginsberg.
Could you spell your first name too?
I thought you'd ask me. R-A-V as in victory, I-T-T-E, 38 to heart.
And do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do. So I think that I'm hoping that I'm part of this target audience that you talked about for your jazz bar, age-wise. And I actually love jazz bars. I've gone to Shanghai Jazz. I was actually the other, last week I think it is, I was in New York City at B.B. King. It was great. And I just looked up their time. They actually end earlier than 2 o'clock. The night we were there, I think their last set was going to end at 11, and I know it was a weeknight. My concern is really not about the jazz bar. I think the way you describe the jazz restaurant sounded really wonderful. I'm not a fan of some of that food, but that's a personal thing. And I think it would be great. And I think some of the people that you heard that talk about, another kind of place to have here in Morristown, wonderful. But my biggest objection is, and I think you've heard from the past few people, is really about the hours that you're talking about. I'm being on to heart, and it has gotten better with some of the parking regulations, but we still have stuff all over the place. We still do hear some noise. Being open till, and serving alcohol till 2 is really not such a great thing. I don't like to go out late at night, not that late, because I know what it's like on South Street. It's really not a pleasant place to be. And you've heard the descriptions. I won't re-describe some of those scenes for you. So really, the question really is about consistency. And I think you've heard that as well. We've made decisions on other restaurants that they were called restaurants, but we knew that they were really bars and based on the hours. And we can't say no to some and yes to others. And we're talking about a small condensed area of town. I think if you were talking about another area of town where it'd be a little bit more spread out, it might be a different set of circumstances. But compressing all that together is really a big concern for me. And I think it will increase in the noise. I think it will increase in all the things that we've been... you could just go back to, all the commentary that was made at all the previous times that we've all come in front of you, and here we go again. That's what I thought as soon as I saw this. I went, here we go again, and we have to repeat the same kinds of things. So I think that it's not the concept. It's the concept that sounds more like it's got a lot of bar theme to it than really the restaurant theme to it. So if you can pull it off as a restaurant, close at a more reasonable hour than 2 o'clock in the morning, I think that would be really tremendous. Now, I do have one question for you when I was looking at the plans. Are those stairs that go directly down to the Iron Bar from the Iron Bistro? Is that an open set of stairs right there?
You have to ask the architect. It goes to the bathroom.
No, right in the front.
Yeah.
When you first walk in, where do those stairs go?
These
yeah.
stairs connect, the bottom is here, which is the bathrooms.
And it doesn't go to the Iron Bar?
It does not. There is, in fact, a convenience store for cleaning purposes, but it's not connected to the space.
Okay.
It's these bathrooms. That's why it's colored in pink.
Okay.
It's part of that space.
Okay, thank you.
I have a couple of questions.
Sure.
I just want to make sure that I understand and that you understand what we told the board. We've indicated to the board that the capacity for the Iron Bar up and down it will be 1,043. So whether or not they approve this tonight, you're still going to have 1,043 people.
Yeah. that sounds
We're asking the board to
unbelievable
allow
me,
us to take some of those people and put them into our restaurant.
Right. I understand
So there's
that.
no more.
Yeah, I understand that.
Okay.
And,
You would prefer.
and as other people have said, I don't know how you would control it. I don't know how you count number of people in any particular area.
Well, you don't know that, but the town knows that because they do that every day. They have
I don't know how they
capacities.
do it.
Well, you don't know it, but the town does because the town has the ability to enforce occupancy. They do that routinely throughout Morristown, every town in the state of New Jersey. So it is enforceable. But you would prefer not to have the application approved as presented, to have all the 1,043 people stay in the existing Iron Bar premises?
I don't know how to answer a question like that because to me, to think of it, and I've seen the basement down there. I mean, it's really wow. It's a little scary at
Have
the
you been
size
there?
of it. Yeah,
You've
I've
been
been
there
on
to-
a tour of it early before they opened it up.
Have you been there since they've opened?
No, it's not my kind of thing. To think of 1,000 people in it's still as big as the area is. It still seems rather small to me, and compressed area. I couldn't be in an area like that. I fear a lot of things of safety. If a fight broke out, if there was a fire, and I know there are all regulations, and it should have cleared all that. But to me, that's even a ridiculous number to think.
So the addition of the 4,000 square feet for the restaurant would help alleviate your concerns?
You know, I think, I don't know how to answer that question directly for you because I feel like this is just playing games. It doesn't feel to me like this is what the real intentions are. It feels like this is a way to kind of try to sneak around and to try to get in and to spread things around, but that the real intention is not there. And so I'm sorry if my trust is not there, but I've just seen things in bars.
Well, you haven't been in the Iron Bar since they opened, so you can't make any reference to that.
No.
You've seen the floor plan which we presented to this board, which we're going to be bound to. We're going to be bound to the number of seats.
Well,
So-
I still see a lot,
Let me
and
just finish the question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So as far as playing games or being sneaky or anything like that, we have presented what we're going to do. They're going to have that as part of the record. So if, for example, they don't build that and they put something else in, this board will have the right to call them in.
I'm not so sure it's all that easy to do. The other things that I've seen, quite honestly.
You don't have any experience in the enforcement of Title 33 or the rules and
No, I
regulations
don't.
of the
Just
ABC.
things
Okay,
that
thank
I've-
you very much.
No. I'd also say that the number of seats, you know, we went through this with
I
the
have
Grand
no further
Patina,
questions.
and we looked at reducing the number of seats at the bar. We looked at changing the hours. All that made sense, yet, you know, somehow that didn't go forward at all. There was no construction, and it felt like, okay, how come that was agreed to? Was there a second step that was going to happen? I mean, you know, let's call it what it is. If it's a restaurant, it doesn't need to be staying open till 2 o'clock in the morning. Maybe 11 isn't the right time. Maybe it's 11:30. Maybe it's 12. But 2 o'clock is ridiculous. And we live here, and we hear stuff. So, you know, come and stay with us sometime. You probably won't get any sleep at night. It's really great.
How many names remain on the pad?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I think at this point, I'm going to suggest that we carry this to the next meeting. We have at least 5 more members of the public to hear from. And if other members of the public come at that time, the public hearing is still open, right?
No.
No? Okay. Okay, so only the 5 people who have already signed up will speak at the next meeting?
I want the names read so there's no dispute.
I
Who
see a
will be-
hand raised for some reason, too. Sorry.
Following names. There was Joseph Lee, Donna McNamara, LaQuinn Lay, L-A-Y, I believe, Dave Nagy, N-A-G-Y, and Michael Dundon, D-U-N-D-O-N.
If there's anyone here that would like to add their name to the list now, I'd like you to come up. But the testimony will be closed at the next meeting and only be allowed for the people who are currently signed up.
What about the people that weren't here?
You want to add your name?
I'd like to be added. The name is Dan Collins, Forty Park.
Here's a list there. You come around. That'll be fine.
There were 2 people.
Come up. You need to come up.
She's on the list, but I don't know why
She's on the list.
You have to come up. You have to speak onto the tape. This is being recorded. You have to speak onto the microphone.
Donna McNamara, 20 Collis Avenue. And my question is when the next meeting is.
We haven't decided
don't know yet.
Okay, because,
we're going to determine that next.
Yeah, it'll be disheartening if people have, been waiting and waiting and waiting, and then they're...
This process is not over, and we're not going to finish it tonight.
Right.
I'm sorry, Council President. I think I know where she's going.
Yeah.
Because I'm a little concerned about when we schedule this meeting, whether or not I'm going to be here.
Yeah.
So those
Yes.
5 people or 6 people that are on this list, we 7 now, that are on this list, I mean, the evaluability for them and whether or not they're going to be here for this next scheduled meeting seems to be important because they have been here for over 3 hours right now.
And I really...
waiting to speak.
I think we have to finish.
10:30, and it is. For the purpose of...
Why don't we say 10:30 and just limit comments to 2 minutes, and if it's anything new, not anything, well, it's 10:45, no, only new comments and nothing that's been stated.
Well,
So
people
2
have
minutes.
the right to say whatever they like, and they are entitled to the same 5 minutes as everybody else. So if we'd like
Not
to go
really,
to...
Council President. You can set parameters
I feel
and
it's
do these
fair for everyone to
boundaries
have equal time.
for the sake of the people that have been waiting here all night to speak.
Okay.
I'm willing to go on.
Thanks.
I mean, I'm willing to go on. Unfortunately, I mean...
Okay,
as far as the public speaking...
We need to have 4 of us here willing to stay till 11. And so I'm happy to take a vote on that. Is that what you'd like to do?
Well, I don't know if the applicant wants to limit himself to just the 4 people hearing it.
Right.
No, absolutely not.
So I know Councilwoman Harris needs to leave.
I'm sorry, I've been at
So
the
that-
spot and I teach
No, I agree.
kindergarten.
I think we're...
I can't function.
I understand, we have to come back, there's going to have to be a transcript ordered for people that weren't here tonight. You can't vote without, the people reading the transcript. It's unfortunate, but, this is what happens.
We have an audio tape. We have an audio recording.
I recommend that we adjourn for the evening
As
and
we
that
planned.
we identify
A date certain.
certain that we're going to come back.
Are you going to advise me?
Yeah, we're going to figure it out
We're
right
gonna
now.
figure it out right
On the record.
Well, we don't have 2 council members here. So can we do this?
I think we have to do it. We have to notice it. We're going to have to renotice and go through a whole bunch
Don't
of
say
things.
that the applicant can't be here for the rest of June.
Thank you.
So what?
Well, so we're in July.
So you want to go to July?
I don't know whether, you were thinking that soon, but...
You want to do what are the Wednesdays in July?
We have Tuesday,
Doesn't have
July
to be a
1st.
Wednesday.
Tuesday, July
A
1st.
lot of people are probably away that week because it's 4th of July week.
Yeah, that's a bad week.
That is a bad week. The council meets on the 8th or the
No,
15th?
on the 15th in July.
Right.
It's only one meeting in July.
So why don't we do another meeting that week so we know people are here?
On
July 16th.
There's a Board of Adjustment in this room. But we need to have this room because we need the recording facilities.
Everybody should be here the week of the 15th because we're the council meetings.
Yeah, so this would be the second time we're asking Board of Adjustment to move.
Stefan's away.
Jim is here.
So we're potentially
How about
The Board of Adjustment for the
Monday night, the 14th.
for the 16th.
It's presented to have all the 1,043 people stay in the existing Iron Bar premises?
I don't know how to answer a question like that because to me, to think of it, and I've seen the basement down there. I mean, it's really wow. It's a little scary at
Have
the
you been
size
there?
of it. Yeah.
you've
I've
been
been
there
on a tour of it early before they opened it up.
Have you been there since they've opened?
No, it's not my kind of thing. To think of 1,000 people in it's still as big as the area is, it still seems rather small to me, and compressed area. I couldn't be in an area like that. I fear a lot of things of safety. If a fight broke out, if there was a fire, and I know there are all regulations, and it should have cleared all that, but to me, that's even a ridiculous number to think of.
So the addition of the 4,000 square feet for the restaurant would help alleviate your concerns?
You know, I think, I don't know how to answer that question directly for you because I feel like this is just playing games. It doesn't feel to me like this is what the real intentions are. It feels like this is a way to kind of try to sneak around and to try to get in and to spread things around, but that the real intention is not there. And so I'm sorry if my trust is not there, but I've just seen things in bars.
Well, you haven't been in the Iron Bar since they opened, so you can't make any reference to that.
No.
You've seen the floor plan which we've presented to this board, which we're going to be bound to. We're going to be bound to the number of seats.
Well,
So,
I still see a lot, and
finish the question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So as far as playing games or being sneaky or anything like that, we have presented what we're going to do. They're going to have that as part of the record. So if, for example, they don't build that and they put something else in, this board will have the right to call them in.
I'm not so sure it's all that easy to do. Other things that I've seen, quite honestly.
You don't have any experience in the enforcement of Title 33 or the rules and
No, I
regulations
don't.
of the
Just
ABC.
things
Okay,
that
thank you very much.
No. I'd also say that the number of seats, you know, we went through this with the Grand Patina, and we looked at reducing the number of seats at the bar. We looked at changing the hours. All that made sense. Yet, you know, somehow that didn't go forward at all. There was no construction, and it felt like, okay, how come that was agreed to? Was there a second step that was going to happen? I mean, you know, let's call it what it is. If it's a restaurant, it doesn't need to be staying open until 2 o'clock in the morning. Maybe 11 isn't the right time. Maybe it's 11:30. Maybe it's 12. But 2 o'clock is ridiculous. And we live here, and we hear stuff. So, you know, come and stay with us sometime. You probably won't get any sleep at night. It's really great.
How many names remain on the path?
2, 3, 4, 5.
I think at this point, I'm going to suggest that we carry this to the next meeting. We have at least 5 more members of the public to hear from. And if other members of the public come at that time, the public hearing is still open, right?
No.
No? Okay. Okay, so only the 5 people who have already signed up will speak at the next meeting?
I want the names read so there's no dispute.
I see a hand raised for some reason, too. Sorry.
Following names. There was Joseph Lee, Donna McNamara, LaQuinn Lay, L-A-Y, I believe, Dave Nagy, N-A-G-Y, and Michael Dundon, D-U-N-D-O-N.
If there's anyone here that would like to add their name to the list now, I'd like you to come up. But the testimony will be closed at the next meeting and only be allowed for the people who are currently signed up.
What about the people that weren't here?
You want to add your name?
I'd like to be added. The name is Dan Collins, Forty Park.
Here's a list there. You come around, that'll be fine.
There were 2 people.
Come up. You need to come up.
She's on the list, but I don't know what you did.
She's on the list.
You have to come up. You have to speak onto the tape. This is being recorded. You have to speak onto the microphone.
Donna McNamara, 20 Collis Avenue. And my question is when the next meeting is.
We haven't decided.
We don't know yet.
Okay, because, you know, I mean.
We're going to determine that next.
Yeah, it'll be disheartening if people have, you know, been waiting and waiting and waiting, and then they're.
This process is not over, and we're not going to finish it tonight.
Right.
I'm sorry, Council President. I think I know where she's going.
Yeah.
Because I'm a little concerned about when we schedule this meeting, whether or not I'm going to be here.
Yeah.
So those
Yes.
5 people or 6 people that are on this list, we 7 now, that are on this list, I mean, the availability for them and whether or not they're going to be here for this next scheduled meeting seems to be important because they have been here for over 3 hours right now.
And I really
waiting to speak.
I think we have to finish.
10:30, and it is. For the purpose of,
Why don't we say 10:30 and just limit comments to 2 minutes, and if it's anything new, not anything, well, it's 10:45, only new comments and nothing that's been stated.
well,
So
people
2
have the
minutes.
right to say whatever they like, and they are entitled to the same 5 minutes as everybody else. So if we'd like
Not
to go
really,
to...
Council President. You can set parameters
I feel
and
it's
do
fair
these
for everyone to
boundaries
have equal time.
for the sake of the people that have been waiting here all night to speak.
Okay.
I'm willing to go on.
Thanks.
I mean, I'm willing to go on. Unfortunately, I mean,
Okay,
as far as the public speaking,
we need to have 4 of us here willing to stay till 11. And so I'm happy to take a vote on that. Is that what you'd like to do?
Well, I don't know if the applicant wants to limit himself to just the 4 people hearing it.
Right.
No, absolutely not.
So I know Councilwoman Harris needs to leave.
I'm sorry, I've been at
So
this
that-
5 and I teach
No,
kindergarten.
I agree.
I think we're,
I can't function.
I understand, we have to come back, there's going to have to be a transcript ordered for people that weren't here tonight. You can't vote without, the people reading the transcript. It's unfortunate, but, this would happen.
We have an audio tape. We have an audio recording.
I recommend that we adjourn for the evening
As
and
we
that
planned.
we identify a
date certain.
that we're going to come back.
Are you going to advise me?
Yeah, we're going to figure it out right
We're
now.
gonna figure it out right
On the record.
well, we don't have 2 council members here. So can we do this?
I think we have to do it. We have to notice it. We're going to have to renotice and go through a whole bunch
Don't
of
say
things.
that the applicant can't be here for the rest of June.
Thank you.
So what?
Well, so we're in July.
So you want to go to July?
I don't know whether, you were thinking that soon, but when you
You want to do what are the Wednesdays in July?
We have Tuesday, July 1st.
Tuesday, July
A
1st.
lot of people are probably away that week because it's 4th of July week.
Yeah, that's a bad week.
That is a bad week. The council meets on the 8th or the
No,
15th?
on the 15th in July.
Right.
It's only one meeting in July.
So why don't we do another meeting that week so we know people are here?
On
July 16th?
there's a Board of Adjustment
We'll move them
in
out.
this room. I mean, but we need to have this room because we need the recording
We have
facilities.
vacation going on in this room. Everybody should be here the week of the 15th because we're the council meeting.
Yeah, so this would be the second time we're asking the Board of Adjustment to move.
Stephens away. So,
Jim is here
so we're potentially.
for the Board of Adjustment for
Monday
the
night, the 14th.
for the 16th.
Do people take long weekends?
The 14th to the 16th.
Midweek is.
Well, we have
probably
court
better.
at night on the 14th,
You have court,
so that's
night court. Okay.
So we're looking at Wednesday, the 16th of July?
yes.
Not around?
We have a council meeting Tuesday.
Yeah, so that way we know
Yes.
people are in town that week. And not
And
taking
potential, and also the BRT hearing on the 17th,
vacation.
and a potential redevelopment meeting on the 17th.
So again, the 16th of July? Yes,
16th
yes.
July, 7:30?
I'd like to start earlier. This was supposed to follow another meeting. 6:30, does that work? Or 7?
Wednesday I work from home, so I'm good.
6:30?
Yeah.
So this meeting will be adjourned and carried until July 16th, which is what?
That's a Wednesday.
At 6:30 p.m.
That would be in this room.
And there will be no further notice given. Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Second.
All in favor?
Thank you all for coming.
Who was the second on that?
Absolutely.
Now I need adjourn.